Looks like we have some.
Recording in progress.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I see it's 12 p.m., so it's time to get going. I hope everybody has their peanut butter and jelly sandwich ready to be learning a lot today. But thanks for joining us. My name is Sandy Ratliff. I'm with Virginia Community Capital. If you're not familiar with us, we're a community development financial institution providing lending, investing, and community innovation services. We are happy to be a partner in this program with the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator, and the town of Abington. And it's hard to believe that we started this program in 2014 to support the Washington County Business Challenge. And we are actually announcing the winners in just a few weeks of our 9th year of doing the Washington County Business Challenge. So that'll be fun. But before I turn it over to our guest speaker today, I just want to let you know that this recording is being, this session is being recorded for training and education purposes. And after later this afternoon, it'll be available to view again on the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator's Facebook page and our YouTube channel, New Knowledge, where you'll find probably 150 workshops that we've done over the past 9 years there. Now, we do have everyone muted and off camera to keep the webinar flowing, but we do want to hear from you, and I know that our presenter does. If you have questions, if you will post those in the Q&A section, Ryan will address those at the end of the session. I am excited to have a Southwest Virginia native lead this session today. Ryan Jones with Do Good Brands founded the company in 2021. He has over 10 plus years of experience in business development, marketing, sales, and operations. He has worked in the healthcare industry, the food and beverage, nonprofits, consulting, and he founded Lincoln Road Rotisserie and Coffee Lounge in Pikeville, Kentucky. Is that correct, Ryan?
Yep, Pikeville and Norton.
And during his time in Lexington, he spent time with Lexington Brewing and Distilling and helped them increase their sales by more than 50% by launching a new state's focusing on key accounts, logistics, and distribution management. He has a passion for the beverage industry and is even a home brewer himself. We won't go into details on that, but in the nonprofit world, he worked with entrepreneurs whose idea of business had the ability to scale through new markets and technology. Ryan has a passion for entrepreneurship and wants to see young entrepreneurs win. Do Good Brands is here to assist consumable brands and nonprofits with ongoing business development, sales campaigns, and entrepreneurship program development. So Ryan, I am going to turn it over to you, and thanks so much for leading the session today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And thank you for that introduction, Sandy, and appreciate you inviting me to spend the next few minutes with you and the leaders in the region. I know we got kind of a diverse group here, and it looks like there's some businesses and maybe some nonprofits, organizations, and some schools that are on the webinar. So thanks for attending. Hopefully I'm able to add some value to your day, but also your business or organization. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen here. And I'll say that, feel free as we move through this to post your questions in the chat, and I can answer those toward the end or do my best to answer your questions. But for practice, everybody go in the chat and just type in where you're from and what business or organization or school that you're representing today. So how did I get here? So I grew up in Hayside, Virginia. Hopefully most of you know where Hayside is. I was surrounded by entrepreneurs. My dad was a pharmacist. He's no longer with us today, but he was a pharmacist, owned his own pharmacy in downtown. My mom owned her own beauty salon and has always had some sort of side hustle. She's actually a teacher at Ridgeview High School now. Some of you may actually know her. But I was active in sports. I went on to play baseball at the University of Pikeville, got a business degree with an emphasis in management and management information systems. Not knowing what I was going to do with my career, I just kind of went to one of the bigger organizations in the region and applied, which was Pikeville Medical Center. So I spent 2.5 years in administration with PMC for short. So after my time at PMC, I started working for this company called Alltech, which is a global consumable company focused on yeast-based products. And I happen to work on the fun side of the business. So when she said Lexington Brewing and Distilling Company, that is actually a company subsidiary of Alltech. So if you ever come to downtown Pikeville, you'll see Dueling Barrels Brewing and Distilling. Some of you may be familiar with that. I was one of the project managers that helped get that brewery stood up. I spent 5 years with that company, and I worked as a business development manager for the brewery and the distillery. We had breweries and distilleries. I think we had 3 in Kentucky and a couple in Europe at the time. So big portfolio, managed around 7 states, had 20 plus distributors, and managed portfolios, logistics, sales and marketing promotions, as well as the distribution plans. And this is really when I fell in love for the consumable industry, being around craft beer and good food. So after that, I was kind of hungry for more in my career, and an opportunity just kind of fell in my lap to become the business and innovation director for a regional nonprofit that was helping businesses get their start and help them grow and scale their company through technology. And so I was feeling a little bit lost in the work at the time last year. And I think for, a lot of us, COVID really changed things for us and our perspective on life. So I wanted to kind of, really see what I wanted to do for my, career or for my life. And the best next thing that I could do was to start another company and be a full-time entrepreneur. So back in July of 2021, I made the leap from the nonprofit, and now I'm a full-time entrepreneur, own Do Good Brands. I've owned and operated Lincoln Road since 2015. We now have 2 brick and mortar locations in Pikeville and in Norton, Virginia. Some of you may have already been there. We have a coffee roastery and a cold brew coffee and tea brewery in Pikeville. And then we also do wholesale with our beans and kegs, as well as direct to consumer via e-commerce and in-person retail. And then with all my experience in this consumable industry that I fell in love with and the nonprofit sector, I decided to start Do Good Brands, which is a business development company that specializes in sales and distribution, as well as entrepreneurship programming. So during our time together today, we've got 3 goals. I hope you understand who your customer is. I hope we improve your company's brand and connect with your customers through social media. So let's get started. So who are your customers? Is this something that you have even thought about? An example, are you a company that is supplying a product to a distributor? Is your product going directly to a consumer? Or are you selling a tech product to a business or an organization, or maybe it's even a municipal or government? Or are you providing some type of service to a business or organization? At the end of the day, your customer is who will give you money for your product or service in very, very simple terms. So who's going to buy your product? Your customer could be a distributor. So if you're a supplier, like us on the consumable side, we might sell our product to a distributor that would then sell our product to a retailer. So our customer in that scenario would be a distributor. Or you could be a retailer, or direct to consumer, or a variety of different businesses. And it's okay if you have more than one customer type. So if we think about Lincoln Road and Do Good Brands as examples, both have very different customer types. And in both companies, we serve different types of customers, which is okay. At Lincoln Road, we are a supplier and a retailer. So we make a product that we sell to other retailers on wholesale, and we also retail our product ourselves direct to consumer through our brick and mortar locations. And then on the Do Good Brand side, we service entities or for-profit companies that have some type of product that want to grow their customer base And so we help them with their distribution reach, their marketing promotions, sales promotions. And then on the nonprofit side, we are seeking nonprofits to help them with their entrepreneurial programming. So much like the VCC that we're doing today, we're serving a totally different type of customer than what I do on the for-profit product side. So it's okay to have more than one customer type. So what does your customer and your ideal customer look like? You might be a startup. You might be trying to figure this out, or an existing business that's not really satisfied with the customer you currently have. But it's important that you nail down what your ideal customer looks like. And really, it comes down to doing business with people that you want to do business with. And in this scenario, I don't know if we have any, advanced manufacturing companies that are in this webinar today, but if let's say you're an advanced manufacturing company and want to do business with somebody like Boeing. Boeing is huge. My suggestion would be to do some research on Boeing and who they are doing business with now, and watch that company and how their company is promoting and marketing their products and services. And you do this to really get some information on how you can market your product or service and serve that type of customer. So this whole presentation, I've really kind of summed up on starting with your customer and who that is, because it's important. And the very first step for you to figure out before you start talking about your branding and your marketing, it's really important that you know who your customer is so you can do all the other things and serve the right people. So on the wholesale side of Lincoln Road, my ideal sort of retailer, so when we sell our product to another retailer, that is our customer. The retailer is our customer. And my ideal retailer is one that is a problem solver, knows how to sell the product, and already has a customer base that keeps coming back for our product, for our coffee. So in that scenario, our coffee sales are probably going to jump up because that retailer is really pushing our product and they know how to sell it. So that's my ideal customer on the retail side, or on the wholesale side. On the retail side, our ideal customer comes in, maybe they come in every week, they're really loyal to our brand. That customer also, they'll check in on Facebook, they'll post on their story, they'll invite their friends to come out and hang out at Lincoln Road. And we actually have a name for these types of customers, our loyal customers that come back often. We call them true roadies, and we actually have a secret discount for these types of customers. So become a true roadie, you can get a discount. But when you look at their interests, so what are some of these customers' interests? Are they, outdoor activities? Is it craft beer? Is it handcrafted beverages, technology products, universities, sports, and finance? It's really up to you to figure out these types of interests so you can properly market your product or service to the customers and add value. And then, are you having intentional conversations with your customers? It's ideal to make sure that you're solving their problem. These conversations are great to get feedback, whether it be via an online survey or picking 5 people to chat with and ask questions to gain some feedback. You need to have a better company. You need to really get feedback from your customers to be able to provide a better product or service. So, for example, at Lincoln Road at the Coffee Lounge in downtown Norton, we just started lunch service, which is something that is totally new to us, and serving food is certainly not easy, and it requires a lot of detail and prep. So what we did after we kind of launched a very limited menu, we created a survey through Google Forms and posted it and sent it out to our customer base to get some feedback. And we ended up having, I think, around 100 people that responded to it and got some really good feedback that's going to really help us tweak our processes, but then also add some more items to our menu that people want to get excited about. And then we also were able to incentivize people to fill out that survey by giving them a discount and giving them a free product. So if you can give us information, we'll give you something back. And this worked out really well for us. And so I might sit down with one of my Do Good Brands customers and say, how are things going currently? What are you most satisfied with? And what are maybe some things that I can do to add more value to you as my customer? And they might say, I think you're doing great, but I'd like to see you add 5 more accounts by July 1st. So I'll say absolutely we can make that happen. I think that's an attainable goal. Let's say I give you a report by the end of May 31st. So these types of conversations, they don't have to be awkward. I mean, it could seem awkward to you, but as long as you're asking the right questions to get the information you want, to get the feedback you want, you're going to be able to provide more value. And you can't put a price tag on getting feedback from your customer. It's all about you adding more value to the customer and solving their problem to make their lives easier. And so what does your ideal customer look like? Take a minute and think. We have a lot of different types of organizations in here and business owners as well. So who is your ideal customer? What do they look like? There are a lot of ways to connect with your customer, and it may seem pretty overwhelming. And you may ask, do I have to be on all of these platforms? And the answer to that is simply no, you do not. But you do have to choose the right platforms that are right for you, and the platforms simply that your customers are going to be on. So not skipping the first step that we talked about, which is who your customer is. That's really crucial for you to know this, because that's going to help you select the right platform to market your product or service. So the first thing to do is dial in who your customer is. Then you can choose which platform you should spend most of your time on, and you can't do every platform well. And I know this from experience. I used to try to do them all, and you just can't focus enough to do all of these platforms well. And if you think about your return on investment, is it a really good use of time to try to be on all these platforms if you're not getting more customers? So pick the platforms that are the best for you and your customer. And I will say that if you're a consumable company or a retailer, Facebook and Instagram, I mean, those are critical. If you're someone that's selling your product online, TikTok is a critical platform to be exposed to the world. And then don't discount your email marketing, because email marketing is super powerful, which is something that we've been using for a couple of years now. And it's super powerful, and you can reach your customer directly. So people sign up, via a newsletter or whatever it is. They sign up to get information from you via email, so they want to hear from you, and then you're able to directly reach them. So choose the right platforms for you and for your customer. And most of our customers, I would say, at Lincoln Road are on Instagram. So that's where most of our focus really is, on Instagram. But the great thing about Instagram is that you can post from Instagram to Facebook in one sort of transaction. So it doesn't really add more time for you to go ahead and post it to Facebook, which is great. And that's, where most of our time is spent, at least on the lounge side. And then on the sort of the roastery side, so we have 2 different accounts, Lincoln Road Coffee Lounge and then Lincoln Road Roastery. And so on the roastery side, we're spending more time on TikTok now to increase more traffic to our website, because we are an e-commerce coffee business as well. And this is really an opportunity for us to show more of our character and sort of personality, and we just get to goof off and have fun. If you go to our TikTok, if anybody has TikTok on here, Instagram, and go look at some of our videos, you'll see that they're just kind of super light and fun. And a lot of them don't have a whole lot to do with coffee, but people are interacting with them, and then at some point they're going to go to our profile, they're going to click our website, and then they're going to see what we have to offer. And I will say, if you're a business to business product or service, and you're servicing, let's say, business professionals or nonprofit organizations or what have you, LinkedIn, I would say, is a great platform to integrate into your strategy. And then, for all of our businesses, Lincoln Road and Do Good Brands both, Facebook and Instagram are probably the most critical for us. And then TikTok now is coming into play, and then email. And we built up to these, so we didn't really start with all these platforms. We started, I think, with Facebook only, and then Instagram. We built in Instagram probably, let's say a month or two after we started our company. And this just sort of grew from there. And then it came the email. We started getting our email list because we were interacting with more people. We had a website, so people were going to the website. They could sign up to our email list. And then we were able to start our email chain, which was great for us. And then, TikTok hasn't been around for, very long at all. And we really just started using it probably, I would say, last year. So my best advice for you is just to pick one and get started. And you're not going to be able to do, if you're just starting from scratch, you can't do every single platform well. So pick one or two and do those well and just kind of grow from there. So we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit more about your brand strategy, what your brand identity is, brand marketing, and how you get your customers to know, like, and trust you. So have you thought about your brand strategy? Some people may think it's not as important, or your brand identity, and then how you take action on some of those items to connect with more customers. But your brand is really one of the most important aspects of your business, whether it's large or small. It's super important. And executing an effective strategy for your brand will set you apart from your competitors. And your brand strategy simply is your logo, your voice, your imagery, your mission, your vision, and how you communicate these attributes to your customer through marketing. And the brand is really your promise to your customers. So what is your brand identity? It's the logo is the foundation of your brand. When, where, and how are you delivering your brand messaging? Then how does your brand make people feel? Your brand identity is how your company is represented and the way that it makes people feel and how it's perceived by the public. This can be how you express your voice on social media. You can share your values. It could even be the uniforms that your employees wear, the packaging. Let's say that your product comes in, the colors in your branding matter. And are you doing what you say you're going to do as far as your mission and your vision goes? Some people have an emotional attachment to brands, and that's why a lot of these big brands use celebrities or athletes in their advertising, because you may see that and you may want that product or service just because of the person that is wearing that item or consuming that item, and you have an emotional attachment to that brand, so you buy it because of who is wearing it or drinking it, and so it's their brand identity is not really focused so much on the product itself, but the story that they're selling. And some quick tips to begin actively building your brand identity. You'll need to first clarify your identity or your company's mission, your vision, and your objectives. So what we did, we started a Google Doc. So if you're not on Google Docs, it's a really great tool to use. Or you can just simply start writing them out on a piece of paper. Define what your brand or what you want your brand or company to be, and then ask yourself, how can I communicate these values to my customers, and how can I make them feel these attributes that I just wrote down? And then what is it that sets you apart from your competitors? And the answers are the foundation of your brand identity. And after these are established, sharing them on your platforms is a great step in connecting with your customers and letting them know what your values are as a company. You can look for ways to take action on these values by using social media or what have you that you've identified, and imagine how you can share those values, vision, visually for pieces of content that you post on social media. I'll say a part of our branding at Lincoln Road is to do good things. We find ways to actively do good things in our communities and for our employees, as well as share it on our platforms. To us, doing good things can be big or small, but we keep finding ways to make an impact on our customers and our community, and then we also challenge our customers to do the same. So doing good things is a part of our brand and our brand identity. And so these are some examples that I thought of when I was thinking about brands and the way that people kind of communicate their values as a company. These are some of the most recognizable brands in the world. And when you see these symbols, you immediately know who these companies are, what they do, and the product they provide. And Nike is a super good example of branding. Nike associates products with star athletes, hoping customers will transfer that emotional attachment that I just talked about before from the athlete to the product. So for Nike, it's not just the shoe features that are selling that product. It's the athlete, it's the celebrity, it's the emotional attachment that you have to Nike is the reason why you're buying that product. And Apple, I mean, everybody's got an iPhone now, I assume, in this webinar, maybe not. But Apple didn't just create a brand, they created a movement. In all of Apple's marketing efforts, they don't just sell the newest phone or tablet, they're selling a lifestyle. And from there, the crisp white packaging that product comes in, their taglines like "Think Different," and even to their event-like product launches, Apple's brand marketing makes people feel like they need Apple products to improve their lives and be connected. And the McDonald's, I mean, immediately when you see those golden arches, you know who that is. And they've been building their brand equity for years and years. So McDonald's as soon as you see that. Airbnb is fairly newer than all these brands, but they are recognized all around the world. So these are a part of their brand identity. They've really focused on the brand imagery, the logo, the symbols, and build their brand equity on their social media pages, nationwide commercials, what have you, the athletes, the celebrities that are using these items. And when you see that brand, you're going to know who it is and what they stand for. And then, for example, with Apple being the expert, I trust that Apple is the expert and their products are going to give me value. And when I have issues, I know they're going to fix them immediately and they're going to follow up. I just really associate them with high quality products and high quality service. And so here is my coffee company's logo, Lincoln Road, with their tagline. The imagery is pretty simple, and we kind of went with the modern logo. And we chose the triangle because if you were to draw a road on a piece of paper in perspective on a piece of paper, you would draw a triangular shape. And the N and the S, those were there just for kind of fun, because then we were kind of thinking about a compass. And so left and right could also mean, or L and R could also mean left and right, and an S could also mean north and south. Our tagline is drink good coffee, do good things. So going back to the do good things part of our brand, at the core of everything that we do, we surround it by doing good things for our community, for our neighbors, and our values are really summed up by this quote. And we use this, we send a card for every package that's purchased online. We have a little postcard that we write handwritten notes on. And it says this quote on it, because we exist on this planet, others should suffer less and experience more. And so doing good things is a huge part of our sort of brand identity. And you can see this is from our coffee shop in downtown Norton. We put do good things right on the wall so people know that when they think of Lincoln Road, they think of a company that really cares about their neighbors and their community. So now let's talk a little bit about your brand marketing, your communication, your voice and personality, how you build awareness and consistency. So brand marketing is how you promote your product. This is the product story that emphasizes your whole brand. Think of marketing as your business generating toolkit and branding as your overall approach to reach your target audience. So marketing is how you're going to get your product, your customers jacked up about your product or service and your brand. So going back to earlier in the presentation, it's really important that you select the right platforms for your brand. Brand marketing is how you are going to interact with your customers, share your voice, your values, and show your personality. It's a long-term plan, and obviously it can change over time, and that's okay, because platforms change, platforms update, new platforms come into play like TikTok, and so you're constantly having to learn new things, but that's okay. But you need to develop some sort of plan for your marketing strategy, and find out tactical ways that you can share your product or service with your audience, with your customers. So knowing, like, and trust, I would say 3 things here: being authentic, be the expert, and follow up. So how do your customers get to know you? How do they like you? How do they trust you? Being authentic in your strategy, I think, can pay dividends, as well as adding this sort of storytelling component to your marketing efforts. I think it adds a human element to your brand, and your customers, I think, will relate to that by being authentic, because we're all just human beings, right? And being the expert means that your customer is going to come to you and no one else, because they trust that you're going to know the answer. So going back to that Apple example, being the expert. And if you don't know the answer, that's okay too. That happens. Just tell the customer that you'll get back with them promptly and figure out their problem. But I would say try to get back with people within 48 hours if you can. And then one of my mentors, this really stuck with me, always used to say that we're selling a story, not a product. So in my previous career in the beverage industry, I did a lot of sales pitches in 7 states, a lot of distributorships, a lot of key accounts. And most of the sales pitches that I did, 75% of my time on those presentations were spent on the story of the company and our founder. And I was able to increase sales by 50% and launch new states for statewide distribution because of the story I was selling, not necessarily the product. The product was great, wasn't the best, because there's so many different types of craft beverages out there now. But the story was so good that the distributor wanted to buy the products and the retailer wanted to buy the products, because the story is really what we were selling. So sell the story, tell the story, and that's going to lead us perfectly into talking about marketing. So driving engagement, platform decisions, content creation tools, a little bit on analytics, hashtags, what does that mean? And then sort of how do you invest into marketing? So if you're starting with no followers, and I've been here in this predicament, starting a new account with 0 followers at all. I've got personal pages that I'm able to use to be able to share my content out there to get more followers. But if you are starting with no followers at all and just created your account, simply invite your friends to like your page. You can go onto your page. I don't know if anybody's noticed this, but you can click community on Facebook, and you can invite all of your friends to your page, which is, I think, a great tool, because you're immediately going to get followers. And you can also leverage, like I said, your personal account to share your page and get followers that way as well. So it's a very low cost way. It's only your time and effort, but just sit there and invite your friends to come and like your page, and you're immediately going to see your followers jump up. And then when you start to post content, it doesn't have to be a professional photo from a photographer, although I think that does add a tremendous amount of value to your brand and your image. But I would recommend, using your cell phone. We all have great cell phones now. Even products that are not Apple products have great ways to take pictures and capture great moments. So I would just recommend using your phone and capture some good photos to start posting. And, don't wait to start posting. You can get really caught up and making every, thinking too much about every post, but you just got to get started and start posting. And when I say, post quality content, The caption, I think, is just as important as the photo is in the content that you're adding into your caption. And I would say to never post a photo without adding a caption and a hashtag as well. And another great way to engage your audience is to ask your followers to comment. Let's say I post a coffee photo. I might engage the audience by saying, how are you drinking your coffee today? Is it hot or is it cold? And I'm asking those questions so I can try to get more engagement from our follower base. And so the more people that comment, the more people that like, the more people that share that piece of content, the more people that are organically going to see that post. And you can also try a contest, and we've done this a lot too. This works extremely well. You can make a post to do a giveaway for one of your products. It could even be a service, and ask your followers to tag, like, share, comment on your post to be entered into the competition to win some sort of free item. And this works well because you're going to get a lot more engagement on the post. It will be seen by a lot more people. It could even be a monthly thing you do. We tried it on a regular basis. We've always received really good organic traction by doing giveaways, and it really doesn't cost that much money to do it. And it's better to give something away than to spend, let's say $100 on an ad placement. And our most recent giveaway was, it was March Madness. So people entered a contest by submitting a bracket on ESPN. And then we selected the winner, which was, a couple nights ago, and they got a $20 gift card. But we had a lot of people that interacted with it and interacted with our contest, which was good for our brand sort of identity and brand awareness. And when I say organic content, that means traction that you're getting without paying for an ad or an ad placement on Facebook or Instagram or whatever platform we're talking about. But I would say that you need to exhaust all the free options before you start paying, and just test a few things out and see if you can get some organic traction without having to pay for an ad. And another great tool that I think to engage your audience is to post on your story on Facebook and Instagram. And we do this a lot. And I think that stories are great. It's fun. And it's one of the best ways for your followers to see your content. You're dealing with algorithms and all kinds of different things come into play. But stories are a great way for people to interact with you. You can post polls in there. You can post questions. You can add stickers. And you can sort of start getting your followers to interact with your post via your story as well, which is something that we probably spend more of our time on Instagram than we do any other platform when we think about posting content. We get a lot more people that see our content on our story, and we really spend a lot of time and focus on our story in ways that we can get our followers and customers to interact with us. If you're not getting traction like at all, maybe you're not posting the right content. So then just switch it up. You're always going to be evaluating yourself on the content that you post. And so go back to those analytics. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about analytics here in a little bit, but you can go back and see how that post performed and how can you do it better the next time. And the key, I think, really to a lot of this is just staying consistent. And don't get discouraged if your audience isn't responding. Just keep posting. And if you do have the budget, hire an expert, hire an employee, somebody that can focus on it, or a contractor, let's say, that can help you with some of your content. But the real key to all this is just keeping consistent with posts, because if you make a post, it doesn't do well, you get discouraged, you wait another 30 days to make another post, you get kind of lost in the algorithm. So the best way to sort of trick the algorithm is to stay consistent and keep posting and keep people engaged and interacting with your content. And so I posted this example of a post that got really good traction for us. This is one of our TikTok videos on our Lincoln Road Coffee Lounge page that we posted on Instagram. It really didn't get a whole lot of traction on TikTok itself, But we did get over, I believe, 5,000, maybe 6,000 views on this particular video that didn't take probably more than 10, 15 minutes to create. And then you can see down at the bottom how many likes we got on this post. I mean, it sort of went regionally sort of viral, I would say. Over 350 people liked the post. We had a lot of people interacting with it, and it performed extremely well. And then here's another kind of example of a piece of quality content. This is actually my wife. I asked her to pose in front of our triangle at the roastery for a picture. I captured it with my cell phone. I put a filter over it and made it look a little bit more professional. So filters are a really good way, and it's a really good tool to upgrade your piece of content. When Instagram was created, they really wanted people to feel like they were professional photographers by adding those filters. So that's why those filters existed, was for you to use them and make you feel like you were a professional photographer. I'm certainly not that, but a filter obviously helps. And some content tools that I use, and these are both great. Some of you may already use these, some of you may not, and may be totally new to you. But these are two graphic design tools that I've used in the past. They're both great to use, and more importantly, they're free. Highly recommend downloading Canva or Adobe Creative Cloud to your phone. If you want to make high quality graphics, or you can put text over an image, you can create something really awesome just using your phone, using these apps. You can actually get on your computer as well and use these two platforms. If you want to look on your laptop or a computer. And I will say that all of my slides for today were created on Adobe Creative Cloud. And you can pay, a monthly fee with both of these if you want the pro version, but the free versions, they're great to get started. They have a lot of good templates on there, and they're really user-friendly, easy to use. Like I said, all the graphics I created today on this presentation were used with Adobe Creative Cloud. They did not sponsor this presentation, so shout out to Adobe for free on that. But this is a way that you can make your imagery more custom. So when I was thinking about creating these slides, I wanted something that was totally different than just, a background or a theme that was already available on Google presentations or PowerPoint presentations. I wanted something that was sort of more custom. So I went to Adobe, I found a pretty decent template, and then I was able to change it a little bit with color schemes and add my logo and the website, and then pick the font that I wanted and everything. So it adds a custom element that you wouldn't typically get using, a Google presentation or a PowerPoint. So in my eyes, it was like, nobody else is going to have graphics that look like this for a PowerPoint presentation. And for me, that's me building some brand identity. So let's take a quick look here at analytics. And I was going to go over to our link in row page and show you more in detail on those analytics, but we're probably not going to have time for that. But I did create this slide that sort of shows you how it kind of works. So if you've got a Facebook page, you can go over on the left-hand side, you can click Publishing Tools, and it's going to show you every post that you've made. And if your Instagram account is connected to it, it's going to show you Instagram and Facebook, because obviously Meta, which is the new Facebook, owns Instagram as well. So it shows you all your analytics for Instagram and Facebook on one page, which is great. And you can, use those analytics to see how your posts are performing. And so when I go look at these analytics, and I like to see interactions. I like to see engagement. How many people did we reach with that post? And you can also look like, what day, what time you posted, and really get a good sense of, what time your customers are on social media. You can even go really deep into this and figure out the demographics. Is it men, or is it women, or is it both? Ages between 30 and 40 that are looking at my post. You can really dial in and use these analytics to figure out who is looking at your post, which is going to help you to determine and define who is following you on social media and how can you provide content that's specific for that particular type of audience. And so we have, a lot of different people that interact with our pages. And I would say both pages, there's more women that interact with our pages than men for whatever reason. So there's sometimes that we think about that and create pieces of content that are going to interact with that type of audience, which is only going to help us grow our customer base and our audience. So a hashtag, I don't know how many people on this webinar know what a hashtag is or uses a hashtag, but I was like, simply, I'm just going to put the definition up here and read it. So a hashtag is a word or phrase preceded by the pound symbol. And on social media, it serves as an indication for users and algorithms that a piece of content relates to a specific topic or belongs to a category. Hashtags help make content discoverable in on platform searches and effectively reach more people. And then I just kind of added 3 hashtags there: trending, social media knowledge, small business. And then here's sort of an example of how we use hashtags and our posts. And so we've created one, and this is, again, a TikTok video on our Rose Street page that we posted on Instagram Reels. But we've created this custom hashtag, and it goes back to sort of your brand identity. So we created this custom hashtag to where when we click on this hashtag, we're going to see all the posts that we've made with it on it, and then all the posts that our customers make that use that hashtag. It's totally custom to us, and hopefully no one else will be using it for a different brand. You can't really trademark those, but we also use other hashtags as well below our posts, like coffee roaster, coffee lover, coffee time, coffee addict, coffee gram. So these are all topics that millions of people are looking at on a consistent basis. And so when we add those ones on the bottom, that helps us become more discoverable on these certain topics that people are interested in. So I think it's pretty important, especially when we're using Instagram, to use hashtags, and TikTok as well. Facebook is not as friendly with hashtags. You can certainly still use hashtags on Facebook and be discovered on there. But Instagram, for sure, use hashtags on your posts. And if you can create a custom one to your brand, that's definitely a lot better. So investing into marketing. If you are not taking the time and the effort to invest more in marketing, start now. There are a lot of ways that you can do this without spending a lot of money. Invest in your brand. Like I said before, exhaust all the free options to promote your brand. And if you're going to spend money on posts, make sure that you have a call to action on that post. So it might be going to your website or learning more or shop now or contact us. If you are going to spend money on ads on social media, make sure that you always have a call to action. And I would say too that it's important to have a call to action on your organic post as well, so you can get more interactions. In spending money on content, it really needs to be lead generating. And if you're not generating leads from the post or getting more customers, your ad is not working, and maybe it's not the right piece of content to spend money on. So I would say invest your time in marketing your product and focus. You can get really distracted with this kind of stuff, and it's really important that you stay focused, keep posting, stick to your plan. And if you don't have a plan, start now. And then this is just kind of a little quote. I say this all the time, that our businesses exist for the customer and the problem that we're solving. So be a customer first business and add value to their problem. And at the end of the day, we created a business to solve a problem and solve it for the customers to make their lives better. So get feedback from your customers and do it often. Being a business owner certainly requires a great deal of effort and a great deal of focus and a great deal of time. And it's not easy. Trust me, it's not easy, but it's certainly rewarding. And I think there's really no better time than now to be an entrepreneur. And I would say just lean into it, get started, and start getting customers. And so now I know that was kind of a lot of information to go through, but I hope it was super helpful to you. So we can take some questions now if we want to, Sandy.
We've got one in chat from Alana. I work at Holston Habitat for Humanity. Our ideal customers, as far as volunteers, donors, tend to skew between two groups: very young adults, students, and older adults retired. We currently utilize Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and email newsletters. By far, we are most active on Facebook and Instagram. It was recently suggested that we consider expanding into TikTok. But a friend, communications professional I spoke with, said that TikTok wouldn't be worth the effort for us since we wouldn't get much value out of it, and unless we have content that goes viral. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think TikTok is a really, really awesome platform that is, I think, becoming more valuable than YouTube. I think YouTube is great, and I know companies and individuals that make a lot of money from YouTube. But I think TikTok is still, similar, kind of newer to a lot of brands and a lot of people. And it's when it first started, right? It was a lot of younger people on TikTok, a lot of kids. But now that has totally changed. There's a number of different demographics on TikTok now. And I think it's a powerful tool, and I think you should definitely experiment with it. I don't think that I would just take that advice and just not create a TikTok based on that. I think you create one, you start posting, and you see what kind of feedback you get and what type of engagement you get. And I think what's great is that you're able to create a TikTok video, and then you can post that TikTok video on Instagram Reels. So you're using a TikTok video that you've created for two different platforms, and you can even post it on Facebook too, which, YouTube is a little bit harder to post because YouTube is really, they have sort of a Reels or TikTok version of YouTube now, but YouTube are sort of longer videos. So I think, this webinar, for instance, that's, 30 to 45 minutes. I think Sandy is going to post it onto YouTube. You can't really do that on TikTok. You only have a minute or a couple minutes on there. But I think it does add a lot of value. It depends on, is your customer on there? And I think that's something you got to figure out.
Great suggestion. Please, if you've got a question for Ryan, post that. But I have a number of them. So while you're posting, I want to share a couple. Ryan, you've worked with a lot of customers over the last 10 years. What do you see as some of the top 2 or 3 mistakes that customers or nonprofits make when trying to do a social media strategic plan or to carry it out?
Yeah, I think not following through with the plan that you create, you sort of get, distracted, or you don't have the right person in place to, focus on that particular item. So if let's say you're the executive director for a nonprofit, you're doing a lot of different other things. I mean, you're worried about payroll, taxes, getting grants, writing grants. You're not really focused as much on your social media plan. So you lose track of your plan, right? So it really requires a certain amount of focus. And a lot of people, I feel like, get discouraged because they'll post something that they've spent a little bit of time on, and nobody's interacting with it. But my advice is just to keep posting, and eventually something will take off, and learn from it, each time. Your business or organization gets better by failure.
Well, and so next step, what are some tips for planning your marketing promotion calendars monthly? Because we do all of this, we set that marketing plan or that goal for the next 6 months or for the year, but there's got to be something that you do personally to keep on strategy and not get sidetracked on other things that we know comes up.
Yeah, I think you got to look at I think your time during the day and during the week. And so let's say, every single Monday from 8 to 10 o'clock, I'm going to focus on social media and get all those posts that I plan for. I'm going to go ahead and schedule those out and create the content that I need to get those posts going. And I think a great tool is to be able to schedule your post out and do it at a certain time, a certain date, and create the pieces of content you need within that 2-hour time frame. Maybe it's Monday, maybe it's Tuesday, but you can get a lot done in 2 hours. But I think it just requires you to sit down at your computer or your cell phone and get it all created.
And do you use something like Hootsuite or something else, or do you go to each channel and do they allow you to?
I think Hootsuite's great. You got to pay for it to use it, but a lot of what we do is posted from Instagram to Facebook, so we have content kind of that we have scheduled out. We don't have a platform right now that we use like Hootsuite, to post on all platforms. So on Facebook, we might schedule things out, but Instagram, we just sort of have a time in a day that we know that we're going to post the piece of content that we created. But I think Hootsuite is a good platform for sure. I've used it before. We just don't use it right now.
And I didn't see you mention much about video. Do you think in video is important to incorporate into your marketing strategy?
100%. Yeah. We, like I said before, we're focusing most of our content on TikTok now because we're able to create short, funny, engaging videos. And you're also able to post those on Instagram Reels. And Instagram wants you to promote or to post Reels. That's how you can sort of start figuring out that algorithm. Instagram, TikTok, they want you to post videos. So I think videos, are great. And I would spend more time on video probably than, just a graphic.
Great. Kathy, did you have a question? I think
Yeah, I do. It's kind of probably a dumb question, but
no dumb questions here.
Right. So we apparently we put our credit card in and scheduled a booster post thing wrong, and it kept boosting. And at the end of the month, we owed like $300 or $400 or $500. So we canceled all of it. We notified Facebook that we didn't want them to do any more ads. So they stopped our ability to be able to boost at all. So anything that is affiliated with my name and either email address that I have, we can't boost a post. You got any suggestions on how I can rectify that?
Yeah. Have you contacted Facebook and kind of raised that question to them yet?
I tried, but I started getting these things from Meta developers, and I thought, well, that'd be a great way to get that fixed. But they want some numbers that I don't know the answer to. Like there's some kind of I don't know. Maybe I need to have a private consultation with you.
Yeah, it sounds like that's a unique one for sure. And I've never had that happen to me before. But my first thing to do would be to try to reach out to Facebook, the help center, and see what kind of information you can get from them, and see if you can talk to one of their representatives. Because that's a pretty bad problem right there.
Yeah, we hadn't been able to boost anything, and you can't, I can share it on a bunch of different pages, but can't boost anything.
That's interesting. So, yeah. Send me an email and we can see what we can do.
Yeah. Okay. I will. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ryan, I've got one last question. And you mentioned about looking at analytics. Do all social platforms offer the kind of analytics you can get from Facebook? I guess is the most common, but
Yeah, yeah. So you can look at analytics on TikTok. You can look at them on YouTube. You can look at them on Instagram, Facebook, and even your website analytics too. And if you're not using Google, I didn't put that as a platform on here, but it's really more pertaining to retailers for Google My Business, and that's a huge platform. But you can integrate Google Analytics to your website for free, and you can get some really good detailed analytics from your website from them. But yeah, most platforms, all platforms that we use, have some type of analytics for a post, and they're great, to look at. And I would say look at them monthly for sure or weekly.
Great. Thank you.
But you can get kind of tunnel vision on it and focus on it and analyze it too much. Don't agonize over it. Don't forget to keep posting. Don't agonize over the analytics.
Gotcha. Well, I don't see any other questions, but I really want to thank you so much for sharing your expertise and experience with us. I can't wait to check out Adobe Creative Cloud because I've used Canva for years and love it. But I'm kind of like you. I want to find something to make it look a little different and spread my wings. So thanks so much for doing that.
Sure.
And I'd also like to thank each of our viewers for joining us today. I know each person has a busy schedule, so thanks so much for participating. Just a reminder, today's session is being recorded and will be available on the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubators Facebook page and also on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/New Knowledge. So go there and look. You'll find probably over 150 workshops that we've done over the past 9 years. I also want to give a little plug for our next session. Actually, we're starting a series on the next New Knowledge, which will be held on April the 20th, and it will focus on QuickBooks. Our next 4 sessions will be all on different facets of QuickBooks, and it will be led by Danny Rubel. He's a CPA with Spiegler Blevins, and I hope you can join us for that. And also, if you found value today's session, please share it with others. That's why we do this, and that's why Ryan is volunteering his time as an entrepreneur to help others take advantage of these platforms that can expand their customer base and hopefully capture some new customers. That's what we're all doing. And Ryan, you've got a lot of thank yous on the chat, so people appreciated it. And again, I can't thank you enough because I know you've got a ton of things on your calendar, and to take time to put this together and do this for us, we greatly appreciate it. And that's why we do this program, and how we can do it is from people like you. So thanks for joining us, and I hope everyone has a blessed rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.